Put a little bit of the rub, nigga, I gotta be safe.
Let's get to the sports talk.
The universe was abuzz with the news of Portland's impending signing of Carmelo Anthony, ending his unofficial 13-month exile. And while yes, we're all excited and happy that Melo will get his shot at redemption, I can't help but think about another group of players, many of whom are searching for their first shot of any kind, G-Leaguers. When I was assistant director of basketball ops for the Phoenix Suns, one of my responsibilities was to accompany our assignees down to our affiliate in Iowa. By the way, our affiliate coach at the time was some dude named Nick Nurse. Lost track of where he is. I heard he moved to Canada.
That worked out. The North.
All right. At the time, we then looked at the then named D-League as an opportunity for our young players to get some meaningful playing time that they wouldn't necessarily receive up with the parent club. Yet, when I think back, one of my great regrets is that we didn't make a more concerted effort at minor league mining, and specifically, I didn't do more to push harder for G-League prospects. Scouting the G-League has always been a different proposition to me than scouting collegiate prospects, where optimism rules the day and we place ceilings and floors of how good a player can be. Rather, G-League scouting involves breaking preconceived notions of who a player is as he's moved on from who he once was when he was first scouted. Finding a player in the draft is like buying your diamond from a mall jewelry.
That's one thing about the NBA. It's tough to make it there unless you're top prospect that's coming out of high school that's going to a top recruited school like a Michigan State, like a dude like a Kentucky, that you going to one of new programs and you're a top freshman that get drafted high, like a number one draft pick, number two, number three. Like, it's just like, you ain't really gonna get no shot like that. It's some that's top picks, but they really be in the G League for numbers of years. It's a lot of them that ain't pan out how they thought it was gonna pan out in their career. They thought they'd be playing in the NBA, but most of them are in the G League right now. They deserve a shot to play in the league, but it's hard to make it there like that for real, unless a team really believe in you.
Finding a player in the G League is more like finding your diamond in the rough. It's a bit more work, not as sexy. Trust me, you don't want to see Des Moines on a Tuesday in February. But it can be an incredible resource for talent, especially on a budget. Look around the NBA and you'll see that the NBA's official minor league isn't just a source of practice bodies and roster flotsam, but actual contributing rotation players. And on Saturday night, Miami's Kendrick Nunn recorded his 6th 20-point game of the young season, tying him for the rookie lead with number 2 overall pick John Morant and giving him the most 20-point games through the first 12 games of an undrafted rookie's career. Nunn, of course, played last year for the Santa Cruz Warriors before being signed by the Heat on the last day of the 2018-19 season. And after a summer of development and indoctrination into the Heat culture, he has emerged as a bona fide starter for a Heat team that's tied for second best record in the Eastern Conference. Doesn't stop there. G-League success stories are all over the best teams in the league. In Toronto, Chris Boucher has followed in the footsteps of Fred VanVleet of making the leap from Raptors 905 to just full-on Raptor. In LA, Alex Cruz has successfully ingrained himself as a Laker crowd favorite. Daniel House in Houston, Brad Wanamaker in Boston, all undrafted players who spent time in the G League and off the beaten path who are now playing rotation minutes. So while we all enjoy the rush of nostalgia with an old name like Melo's resurfaced,
because those teams right there believe in them players and gave them a shot. Once you gave them a shot, they took full advantage of it, and look at the contribute they doing for them team. Kendrick Nunn went undrafted, fit Miami culture, buy into their system, and look at the season he having so far. House, good defender for Houston, give you a couple buckets, and Houston believe in him. Rashay, Toronto believe in him. He came up in their little system, and he emerged now with the team.
Let's remember that for the best run franchises, they're able to reach beyond the familiar, to bypass the mall jewelry store and go searching for their own diamonds in the rough. So, Chene, which team has used the G League best so far in your opinion?
Well, your girl has worked 3 G League showcases. I really do enjoy the G League. I think you get an appreciation when you're down there for like a week and you're watching and play. There are games happening every day, about 5 or 6 of them. And I was there in Mississauga in Canada. And it was really cool because we know the big names. We know Pascal Siakam, who was a G League Finals MVP, a G League champion. We know Chris Boucher now, based on his big win against the Lakers. He was a G League MVP. But like the Lorenzo Browns, the Malcolm Millers, guys that end up with rings on rosters, those guys I have a real appreciation for. And I started with my experience in Toronto because I remember I was calling a game. I called the Raptors 905 game, and that same day, those two guys, Lorenzo Brown, who's actually been a G League MVP, played in the Raptors game that same night. The Raptors blew them out, and they played the whole second half, so they played 2 games in one day. And I have an appreciation for like the young talent and also the opportunities. Sometimes everyone thinks we have to go straight to overseas if it doesn't work out in the NBA. Well, no, the G League does a great job of harvesting talents. You learn that in very different, typically cold places where they are. You're right about that.
It's almost like a part of the test, though. Are you willing to play in the G League? Because you can make a lot more money overseas. And so a lot of players, especially their agents, will want them to go.
All you have to do is just give that person a shot. Because some players don't want to play in the G League. They want to be in the NBA right now. But some go overseas. Because they can make a lot more over there than the G League. But once you're a team that give a player a shot and showcase what they can do, this is what could happen. Siakam, the Raptors running right back up. Most improved player. NBA champion. On the verge of making his first All-Star game. On the verge of being an MVP talk.
Overseas because they can make more right away. But if you bet on yourself and you say, I'm going to stick it out for that year in Mississauga, right?
Yeah.
Okay? I'm going to stick it out for the year in Des Moines. That's when you really get seen. And that's when, and teams, I think this is the next evolution for this, is when they really put the system that they run with the big league club down into the G League.
For sure, the proximity of the G League and the frequency with which you get seen is a big deal. How about Sioux Falls? That's the one it's hard for me to pick against the Heat. The Heat, both developing guys. I mean, Duncan Robinson is also starting for the Heat right now, and monitoring guys who fall through the cracks, like Kendrick Nunn, or even monitoring guys who were kind of once highly touted or talented, like Hassan Whiteside was in the D League at the time. The Heat have done an incredible job mining talent from there.
Clint Capella too, you can mention that. And it's not just the players, it's also the coaches. When I was talking about that Raptors 905, the coach on that team was Jerry Stackhouse, who then became assistant at Memphis and now is a full-time coach with Vanderbilt. So it's harvesting all kinds of talent.
And I mentioned Nick Nurse, and his assistant Nate Bjorken was his assistant down in Iowa when they were our affiliate in Phoenix. And you're right, it is.
Even a coach, Nick Nurse. But Raptors gonna get over the hump to even get to a championship. They took a risk and fired their coach of the year in Dwayne Casey. And took a chance on Nick Nurse. And look at the outcome. Coached in the G League, got the job with the Raptors. Won the NBA championship the next year.
The pipeline for the good organizations using a pipeline for everybody, not just players. And I think that's the interesting thing. Your example of Mississauga, it's easier to do that because it's there. South Bay, it's easier to do it for the Lakers because it's there. So what Miami is able to do with Sioux Falls is so off the beaten path. It's just crazy.
I think they like that.
Yeah, no, they love it. They're not going to change it. Yeah.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis,